So, all right, listen, I understand that our guest is in the house. I got to tell you, I got to give a little background before we get into this because I've watched him grow, throughout the years since he came into WCW. And at this point, he's an actor, a dancer, a singer, a game show host, and yes, he's a wrestler. He was featured on Dancing with the Stars, and I thought he did a hell of a job, and he even hosted his own game show. He's the lead singer of his own band, Fozzy, which you're supposed to be listening to right now, right, Robert? Our guest tonight is a six-time world champion and the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the world for WCW. We're holding both titles. He's a mama jammer, a bad mama jammer, the man of 1,000 holes, the Ayatollah of rock and roller, the Lionheart, Y2J, Chris Jericho.
Come on, you know I got ya. Yeah, one.
Are you going to play the whole song? Just let me paraphrase this room. Cut the music.
Uncle.
Cut the music.
Hey, it's got to fade out.
Your guy got carried away there. He was jamming. He forgot the show going on.
Hey, CJ, it's great to have you on the show, brother. How are you doing this holiday season, bro?
I'm doing great. That was a hell of an introduction you gave me, Paige. I think that's the most you've ever put somebody over in your entire career.
I tell you, man, I'm just about to do it, and I was jumped up, and I pulled my speaker right out of my hands. It was perfect timing. Perfect timing.
That was great, man. This is quite the deal you got set up here. It was funny when I called in, a lady with an English accent answered, so you've got some real worldwide thing going on.
Yeah, it's a little blog talk radio. So let's get the holiday festivities out of the way. Have you even started your Christmas shopping yet, bro?
Yeah, I've got 3 little kids, so they see something on TV and they want everything. So you got to start really early if you want to try and field all the requests that they have. So yeah, it's good though, man. It's funny when you have kids because it kind of brings back the whole spirit of Christmas that you kind of lose when you get older, But yeah, it's a great time of year for sure.
I love it. It's my favorite time of year. My house is got Christmas. They got Christmas shit everywhere. At one point, they called me the Clark Griswold of professional wrestling because I would really make that land.
It's funny, even when I came to your place in LA a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was, I didn't remember which one it was, and there's just all these doors, and then right on the one door is a giant Santa Claus, this huge wreath, there's like bows and ribbons everywhere. I was like, well, that's paid for sure.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Chris, let's get a little background here because for some people who know you from Dancing with the Stars, and dude, I got to put you over the game show. You did an awesome job with that, man. That had to be a lot of fun. So
yeah, it was a lot of fun. I never woke up and said, I'm going to be a game show host. It was just something kind of fell into my lap, and you know how it is, man. When you've been doing this for so many years in show business, in entertainment, you just take the tricks and tools that you've learned, in wrestling and just being in front of a camera and being in front of a live crowd. You can pretty much use that in any form of show business.
Well, and like we perform live, so as you know,
yeah, exactly.
Then if you can do that,
yeah,
you can do that. You can take it to the next level. And for a background for people who don't know you as the wrestler, though, give a little background. Like, I know you started a long time ago. Did you start with the Hearts? How did you actually get into the ring?
Yeah, I started. I was a big wrestling fan when I was a kid. My grandmother used to watch it, and I remember watching it in her basement up in Winnipeg, Canada. And so I just decided when I was about 12. I actually had 2 dreams. I wanted to be in a rock and roll band, and I wanted to be a wrestler. So you know, it's easy to pick up a guitar and get together with some other boys and put together a band. And so that's the easy part. The wrestling thing was a little bit more difficult. Like, how the hell do you ever become a wrestler? Especially, this was back in 1990 when you couldn't just Google, you know, wrestling school or email somebody. It was all, you know, kind of word of mouth. So I just decided when I was 12 that's what I wanted to do, and then I was lucky enough that Stampede Wrestling started coming to Winnipeg, and there was an address there to go to the Hart Brothers Pro Wrestling Camp. So I wrote down the address when I was 15 and wrote them a letter, and they said you had to wait till you're 18. So I kind of just started programming my life towards that while I was still playing in the high school band. So it was kind of cool that I had two dreams that both came to fruition, and both were completely against the odds in doing so, you know.
You know, and for anybody, because so much of this show that we do here, bro, and you're going to introduce you to Sparky and Stacy, because they are two of the heartbeats. Of course, Robert is my man, who was long on the music, but he really is the master of disaster, who puts all of our websites together, all of our stuff, and I'm going to get them into asking questions. But what you said, the heartbeat of what you said, the lion heart of what you said there, was the manifestation of that dream. You saw it at 12, 15.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have wrote it down. You had it plastered everywhere, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was obsessed with music first and foremost. That was always the thing that I was really into, and I really got into it huge, where, you know, I learned everything about the bands that I liked and had the pictures on the wall and all that sort of thing. But then wrestling kind of followed after that, because to me it was a combination of, you know, I love music, I love hockey, and I love wrestling. And wrestling's kind of somewhere in between those two things. It's got the athleticism of a hockey game with the show business of rock and roll, you know, and that kind of really appealed to me. And the thing about it is, it's like, I think what it did is I had this dream when I was so young, and you know, basically against the odds, especially back then, when everybody was like, "Oh, you want to be a wrestler? I mean, you're too small, you're too short. How the hell are you going to do that? And we want to be in a rock and roll band. Good luck." And I think you kind of get that attitude, which has really benefited me my entire life, which is basically an iron will that you just don't listen to negative people, and nothing ever holds you down if you think you can attain it. I think that's an attitude that we both share, and that's why we both, you know, made it as far as we did, not just in wrestling, but in all the other things that we did, you know, beyond wrestling and before and afterwards. And that's, you have to have that attitude, and when you start at a young age, it just becomes part of who you are. So you don't have to wake up in the morning and go, "Come on, let's get them." It's just instilled in there.
Absolutely, man, and it's so strong, because it doesn't have to happen to you as a kid. It can happen to you right now. And maybe you've heard Sparky say it, or you've heard Stacy say it, or you've heard Robert say it, or one of the other guests come on here, you've heard me say it. But maybe because Chris Jericho just said it, maybe that's the one time you went, "You know what? I'm going to do it." Whatever it is, you know, whether it's get back in shape and, you know, start to, you know, hold back the hands of time, whether it's to be a, you know, go to school. Like, one of my best friends is going to law school, and he's 43 years old, and he's going to law school, and he's found the only accredited that is a first-class law school online. It just came available in the last 2 years, but he found it because it's not just out there, and he's hooked up with some of the best lawyers in town because he works with them, and they were like, "Marlon, if I was you, if I was back in time, I would have done this before I went to school. I would have done this," because it's all about what you learn. You know, so it's never too late. It's never too late. And I mean, tell the story about Fozzy. Like, from in the beginning, where did Fozzy come with? I know you were with my buddy Rich Ward, who from Stuff Joe.
Yeah. It's just a really weird thing in that, like I said, like I had bands all throughout high school, and even when I started wrestling, I still continued to play music and demo my own songs, and you know, get up and jam with people whenever I had a chance. But I was really wanting to put something together to play. And I just happened to meet Rich backstage at a show, I believe it was in Spartanburg, and he was there because he had done some work with you. They did the Rising video was with DDP and the Flock, and Mojo was really on a roll at that point in time, so they had a little bit of notoriety, and the WCW connection was great because Rich was a huge wrestling fan. You know, he used to tapes sent to him during the tour so we could watch them on his, VCR on the tour bus. And we just kind of ran into each other, and I knew who he was because I'd seen them play, and musicians kind of flock together. The rock guys always flock together, long hair, etc. And we just started talking, and we just really hit it off right off the bat, and just kind of had a real kindred spirit. And he was telling me that he had this band called Fozzy that was a cover band in Atlanta that just kind of played whenever there was guys in town. Just whoever was around would come and jam, and they'd just do some of their favorite songs. And I was like, well, dude, I sing. I'd love to come do it with you. And he's like, yeah, you should come sometime. So I fast forward. I sprained my ankle in Vegas in a match with Scott Steiner, and I was basically out for 3 months. And it was right at the end of my WCW contract, so I was basically just taken off TV for like 3 or 4 months. So I just called Rich up, and I said, remember you said if I had time, we should do some jamming? I said, well, I have time. And I just flew to Atlanta, and we did a couple gigs as Fozzy Osbourne, and then it was really weird because of who was in the band. Rich from Stuck Mojo and Jericho from WCW. We got like a little bit of a bidding war to do a record, sight unseen and sound unheard, which is ridiculous, but it's the way it was. And the guy who ended up signing us was a guy called Johnny Zazula, who signed Metallica back in 1983. And he just really liked the idea of us playing covers and doing this cover thing. So we started out as a cover band on Megaforce Records, which is where Metallica and Anthrax and all these bands started. And it just kind of started from there. We were like, oh, okay, like, you want us to play covers? I guess. And like any self-respecting musician, we took the money and did it. But, it wasn't too long after that we said, we should start playing our own stuff because we really, were enjoying playing, had good chemistry. And about 2002, we just started doing all original stuff, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
That's amazing. And, we film, for you guys who don't know this, that Chris, one of the reasons why we rekindled, we were buddies, we'd hang out occasionally, backstage, but we never ran on the road together or anything like that. And we've gotten so much closer now that, we're both out of the business, and he was just at my house last weekend, and we did a workout, which I'm going to have that video up probably either tonight or tomorrow. I want Chris to see it first. It's really good. But to the workout spot, we played Fozzy music, and I loved it, dude.
Oh, cool.
It was really good. Well, and then, go ahead, will you say something?
Well, I was just going to say, and that's one of the things I think, especially over the last couple of years, has been a real rebirth for us. And I think people finally got over the fact that Fozzy's the band that has the wrestlers singing, and just realized that it's great rock and roll band playing some kick-ass music. And this past year we've toured with Anthrax, we played with Metallica, we've toured with Avenged Sevenfold, we toured with Bullet for My Valentine. So we've had some really good stuff going on, and it's just kind of taken us to the next level, which is great because I always say the only people that don't like our band are the ones that have never actually heard us. There's a lot of prejudice, but we've kind of got over that. Yeah, So yeah, it's cool. I'm glad that people kind of felt that way because it's a passion of mine. It's who I am, and people know it's real because I know everything about music. I know way more about music than I ever did about wrestling for whatever reason. I couldn't tell you anything about who was the first Intercontinental Champion, but I could tell you who played guitar on the first Iron Maiden record. That's just always the way I've been.
When I was actually looking at your credits, bro, I realized you are a 9-time Intercontinental Champion. So maybe you should know who the first. Maybe you should know who the first one was.
Well, I do now. It's Pat Patterson. Pat Patterson was.
And that cat could work. He knew how to draw money on so many levels, so responsible for so many of the really great angles that ever came down in WWF or WWF and WWE, for that matter. So
and not just from that. I mean, just from a teaching standpoint, I learned 90% of what I know about how to put together a match, and some people say I'm pretty good at it. 90% of how to do that I learned from Pat Patterson, 100% completely.
It was my one shining moment at WWE after me and Christian had that match at WrestleMania 18. He came storming across the floor. Diamond, you had him. It was amazing. Great match, man. I'm so bald. I was like, yeah, thanks, Pat.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. So, Stacy, you got anything for TJ before we open the floor to some people?
Well, I had a question for Chris. I wanted to know how he got his first impression of DDP Yoga. Did he have any resistance to it initially because of the Y word, and what's been his experience with it?
Yeah, the funny thing is, it's like, the wrestling is a pretty small world, as Paige was telling you. So I knew that Paige was doing the yoga, and I knew that he'd be doing good at it because it's definitely, your personality, and like I said, you're like me. When you get into something, you believe in something, you make it work. So I've been following it for years, not actually doing it, but just watching what you were doing with it and kind of following the updates and where you were taking it and overseas and, blah, 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 blah. And, I just never really felt a need to do it. I didn't think it was stupid. I mean, yoga, instantly when you first hear it, a lot of people, especially guys, kind of turn their nose up on it. But I just thought, well, it's not really my thing. But my cousin, Todd, who now is actually doing YRG, was always doing yoga whenever he came to my house. He had a really bad back problem. I would always see him doing it and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, wow, geez, that looks cool, but, whatever, if it works for him. Fast forward, long story short, I ended up having a herniated disc this spring, right after I did for the Stars, actually. It was really bothering me. If anybody's ever had that type of pain, I know that Paige has had it, but you can't sit, you can't walk, you can't sneeze.
Brutal.
You can't go to the bathroom. I mean, if one of my kids dropped a piece of paper on the floor, I don't like paper on the floor, but I have to look at it and debate whether or not I wanted to reach down and pick it up. And it was just really bad, and it affects you mentally, just not the same person. And so I went to physio. That wasn't working. They gave me an epidural. That was okay. I went to acupuncture, which was not bad. It was helping, but there's still problems. So I took a picture of myself on the acupuncture table and tweeted it. So about 30 minutes later, I get a call from DDP, and he's like, bro, what's going on? Tell me what's up. I saw your picture. And I was like, oh, what's going on? Bro, come on, tell me what's going on here. That's my Jersey imitation. I use it for Zach Wilde and Paige. You guys got the same voice. Come on, brother. What's going on, brother? So I was actually thinking about doing yoga. I knew that Shawn Michaels had done it. We never really talked about it in length, but I just had known that he had done it. And as soon as you called me, Paige, I just said, this is perfect. I mean, you couldn't have called at a better time, and I appreciate you calling. And at that point, you're kind of surrendering. It's like finding God or something. It's like I got nothing else to lose. This is the shits. I don't want to live like this, so I'll try anything, because they keep using how doctors are. Well, if this epidural doesn't work, you're going for surgery. I'm like, screw that. I am not doing surgery, because I see surgery, people that have had surgery, and a couple of years later, they're in the same boat. And as Paige says on the DVDs, there's always somewhere to go. And there's always somewhere to go, because I spent so much time in Japan. I know that there's other types of medicine other than just what medicine that we have here, Western medicine or whatever it's called. And that's why I started going to the acupuncture anyway. So blah, blah, blah. Anyways, and when Paige called me, we talked about it, and he sent it to me, and I dove in with both feet, and from the very first day I started doing it, I didn't stop. And it was every day following the YRG, I guess the book, the catalog, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of making up my own workouts, because I actually listened to what Paige said, make the workout your own. This is your workout, make it your own workout. So I do one. If it was easy, I'd move on, and just started from there. Suddenly, 2 months later, the pain is getting better. I still feel it a bit at night, but then, a month after that, suddenly there's nothing. There's no pain at all. And it just, you're a little bit scared about it, because it's like, well, is it going to come back? And then it didn't come back, and then it didn't come back, and then suddenly, I'd, bend over really quickly or jump up and down or do something, and there'd be no pain. So I can honestly say, and I didn't get any more epidurals, and I still did acupuncture, but just more of maintenance. YRG definitely helped cure that herniated disc, and I will say that with my hand on the Bible, looking God in the face. I'll take a lie detector test. I'm telling you right now that it definitely 100% worked.
And how shocked were you? Because it didn't involve weights or a lot of the traditional stuff that people used to get, wrong. Were you shocked at how well it worked for you?
I wasn't shocked, because, like I said, I know Paige for years, and I know he's not you're not a flake or a charlatan that's just making this stuff up. And how into it you were just from reading the posts or the tweets or the website. It must have done something. And then when he and I talked, he said, I had 3 herniated discs or 2 herniated discs, whatever it was. I was like, well, that's one more than I had, so it must not be as yours was worse. And if it worked for you, because I vaguely remember that. I remember you were out for a while, and there was rumors that you were done, and then you came back, but I didn't really know the reason why. So it didn't shock me. Because for me, once I get into it 100%, I'm in it, and it was hard. But when it started working, it was more of a, damn it, he was right. Like, I'm so happy he was right because I was hoping he would be. And the thing is, I've been touting YRG Yoga to everybody. Anybody that has any type of pain, anybody that's in their late 30s, early 40s, that starts to feel, I feel so bad, kind of, bent over. I wake up in the morning with pain. I've been telling everybody. I think when I went to dinner, I was up in Canada a couple of days ago, and I think everybody I talked to, I said this talk about yoga, that my friends that were with me all night were like, shut up already, you've said the same story 7 or 8 times. But it fits for everybody. I went to the Metallica 30-year anniversary show, and I was talking to James Hetfield about yoga because he just went on a big diet and got rid of a bunch of stuff and stopped training, and he was on the caveman diet, and it worked for him. And I was talking about the no gluten diet, and talking about YRG yoga. So like even James Hetfield knows about YRG now.
Oh, so how cool is that?
So
I've been my day.
Yeah, I just got a text the other day from Norman Smiley. Actually, he's like, How's this DDP yoga? Is it bullshit or is it true? Because I'm hurting. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, it's the God's honest truth. And he's like, I was just wondering because you hear yoga and you think it's all bullshit. And I think that's the initial, the initial thought. You thought it too, right, Paige, when you first had it?
Oh, dude, come on. I was actually quoted. I was quoted in the Wall Street Journal. A guy saw, because it started as yoga for regular guys. And I had a bunch of hot-looking women and regular guys doing, my form of what I was calling normal yoga, regular guy yoga. But I had Rob Zombie write the forward, and he starts out yoga, give me a effing break. But he put over YRG because it's a good segue into, I got to finish it. I got quoted in the Wall Street Journal saying F-that. I wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga.
Yeah, right.
So when somebody says that to me, I go, I get that. And that's why I'm so proud of what we put together for the DDPyoga.com site. The first video that comes out, I get into that, and I make you know in the first 10 seconds, this ain't yoga. This is DDP Yoga, so it's its own animal. It's YRG, it's extreme, it's this, it's that, it's whatever you want to make it. But I developed it for people who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. Zero impact, kick-ass cardio, increased flexibility and core strength conditioning. So let's go back to Todd, because I did get the chance. Me and Todd did talk. And you're right, he had done yoga before, but he was still in pain. And I sent him up the YRG fitness system, the DDP Yoga. And last I heard from him, I got an email from him. He said he was feeling really good.
Yeah, and he had chronic pain, too. Like, he took oxygen shots and like every little thing that you can think of, and he still had really bad pain. There was only one position that he could go into that would make him feel good. He was on meds. He couldn't sleep at night, and he's 4 years younger than I am, so he's still in his mid-30s basically. And I said we did YRG together when I was up in Edmonton, and he loved it, and I think he's been doing it every day ever since. So, when you get to that point, you want to just really do everything you can to make it work. And I honestly think, and yoga's like, it's one of those things that when you don't do it, you don't really notice, but when you do it, you see it everywhere now. It's yoga. And I really think, especially with your system, Paige, I really think in the next 10 years that people will be doing yoga or yoga-based workouts just on the norm, the same way that people put seatbelts on now, whereas, 15 years ago, nobody wore their seatbelt. then everyone started wearing it, or using a condom, or not smoking. I think yoga and I think gluten-free diets are going to become the norm,
I agree.
or more accepted, because everybody that does it, it works.
Right.
So what's the hassle,
It's funny you say that, because I always say yoga is sushi. There's 25 years ago, we weren't eating sushi. Now you can get it at Publix.
Exactly.
On your way, they almost have it in a little fast tray when you're checking out. Almost, it's so close to the damn register. It's ridiculous. But I think that Brian Kest, who's one of my mentors, the power yoga guy, he said to me 3 years ago, he said, "You're 5 years ahead of the queue." He said to me, "You are the doorway that's going to get people, because your look at it is so different." And it does. I mean, make it your own, get rid of all the mumbo jumbo bullshit, and just, and do a workout, and do it at your own ability. And I think Arthur Borman, the disabled veteran, shows that better than anybody.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Totally. So I want to get my other buddy in here, my other co-host here, Sparky. You got a question for YPJ here?
Oh, yeah, where to start, man? Like, when you said, if I could get a DDP workout with To Kill a Stranger, I don't know how anybody could not be pumped for that workout, dude. But you talked about, like, getting ready, getting into your 40s, because I'm almost there. When I started, I couldn't, there's a point where I had to literally bend over, pick up my foot and put it on my knee to pull a sock on. Now, the shape that you're in now with DDP Yoga, where you could be, and how you were in the ring, would you say that this is something that could get you back into ring shape or better than that?
Oh yeah, I'm already in better shape now than I was, a year and a half ago when I left the WWE, and I kind of was getting there anyways, just from, Dance with the Stars is a real fat burner, and all that sort of stuff. But then since I started doing YRG, it really tightened up. You could really feel it and just feel a lot stronger. Even before I herniated my disc, we always laugh like it's the wrestler's code. It's like you wake up in the morning, you feel like you're 90 years old. You can't hardly get out of bed. Your lower back hurts. And I was just thinking about the other day. It's like I get out of bed, I get up, I'm walking around. I was like, I remember before I even had my back problems, I still had back problems because you feel sore in the mornings. Every morning, there was something would be off. And it's just not there anymore. And I actually made my analogy is it's like your body is a dry sponge. And when you start doing YRG, it's like pouring a glass of water on that sponge. It just opens right up. I feel that my body is so open. Just like I can bend over and touch my toes right now. I could never do that in my 20s and 30s. Never. Never thought it was important. I never stretched. I never warmed up. Regal used to laugh at me in that, your warm-ups are the worst. Whenever you go to the ring, I'd look at the wall, I'd throw a kick, I'd stand there and just go. And it's like I never stretched, I never did anything. I just didn't think I needed it, but obviously I did need it. And it was just waiting for me to find it, YRG. And as soon as I started doing it, I was like, well, this is perfect. And what Stacey was saying, I still go to the gym to do core workouts and that sort of stuff, and the boot camp type stuff. I enjoy that. But as far as lifting weights or heavy weights, never. Cardio, never. It's all done through YRG now, and I feel probably stronger and faster and more. Just more amped up on a daily basis with YRG. I think it's really ignited a lot of energy inside of myself, just from opening a lot of those pressure points up, I guess.
That's awesome. Not to completely switch gears, but we got a fan of yours who's in the chat room, and she's a big Fozzy fan from up in Canada, and she wants to know if you guys are coming back around to North America.
Yeah, we're just getting ready to sign a pretty big record deal, actually, which is going to be huge for us, and we're going to release that record in the summer and hopefully get on one of the really big tours this summer, which I also can't say, but if we do that, we'll be touring all across Canada and America as well, which will be great. We've got so much stuff in Europe, Australia, France, Germany, England, Scotland, but we've never really spent a lot of time in the States. We've just done spot gigs, and we'd like to do a full tour, so hopefully that'll happen this summer.
Oh, that'd be awesome. It looked like the European guys ate that up, too.
Yeah, we've always done good there from the first time we went there in 2005, in the UK especially. England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales have been real strongholds for us, and we've gone there so many times. And like I said, France has opened up for us. Germany, Australia's been great. Canada's been cool too. The shows we've been able to do, but we just really got to hit the States. So hopefully that'll happen. And it helps me on stage too. Wired. I mean, everything. I gave it to Rich Ward, our guitar player, who's always doing back warm-ups before the show, and he's always having back issues because he goes nuts on stage. And he's got a 25-pound Les Paul around his neck, and he has for the last 5 years.
Right.
He's a prime candidate for Wired. Well, I'm not sure if he's doing it or not yet, but he will.
That's too cool. Now did DDP get you hooked on any gluten-free foods? Have you tried that?
The last time we trained together, I went to his house, and he made a lovely brunch via omega-3 eggs and gluten-free blueberry waffles, which were great. So I really started thinking about it, and my attitude was, when it's just like anything else, it takes a couple times, but I was thinking to myself, well, he was really, he was on the money about the YRG, so maybe he's on the money with the gluten-free stuff too. And then once again, as soon as I started looking at gluten-free, I saw it everywhere. And I'm not really much of a dairy guy anyways. I don't drink milk. I eat a little bit of cheese, but that was easy to drop. So I actually am doing the gluten-free and actually even staying away from baked goods right now totally, just to kind of purge myself from it, of all types of bread and wheat. But I went out the other day and bought some gluten-free bread. I have a bunch of loaves of it, and gluten-free spaghetti and all that sort of thing. So when I start wanting to try some carbs again, I'm definitely going to go gluten-free from now on.
Well, I want to make sure that your pasta is the Tinkyada, Tinkyada. I've tried them all. That tastes better than regular pasta, and and it holds together. Most rice pastas fall apart completely. Now I know we've got a brother in the queue here, the one and only Glacier Ray Lloyd. Welcome to the show, dude.
Hey, Paige. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, man. Talked to you forever.
What's going on?
Nothing much, man. I live in Orlando now, so I'm not real far, I think, from where you are. You're over in Tampa, Clearwater.
All right. Is this Filthy Ray, Fat Fingers the Magician?
It is.
Oh, you see, you had to introduce yourself with that, my friend. I didn't recognize your voice at first. How you doing, man?
Oh, man. I'm doing awesome. Actually, I just finished my DDP Yoga workout about an hour ago. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I got it. What's up?
Let me before you say anything, Ray. I got to say this because you say Smiley, and I know your friend was Lance Storm, and I haven't talked to him in quite a while, but I saw a tweet, whatever you call it, where he had said that Chris was talking about YRG, and was going to look into it, and I don't know if you got my tweet, because I just should have sent you a regular email, Chris, because I know you get blasted. You got almost 500,000 people following you. And if you're not following I Am Jericho, it is at I Am Jericho. And I was coming from I'm looking at my own thing here, right? At Real DDP or at DDP Yoga. I guess you could figure that one out. Either one of those. But Lance had made a mention. And tell Smiley, just give them my email, my number, whatever. Any of the boys, I just send it to them. Stacey just contacted me 2 days ago. He said, dude, I heard, I read about this and that, and, and I heard Jericho really put it over, and, I'm a chiropractor, and I'm still, I want to find more ways to hold back the hands of time. So,
I think it is going to start, taking over like wildfire, because when the boys find something that works, back in the days it was all the gas or whatever. Now it's not that. Now it's like, they're going to find something that works, and then everyone's going to jump on it. So, like I said, I've been telling all the boys, I've been telling my friends. I got my friend Spewy into it. Spewy's been doing it now from Calgary. So, there's a lot of guys that are getting into it because, once somebody kind of figures out that it works, people want to be a part of it, especially for the boys who have been bumping for years and years and years. There's got to be something you can do to alleviate some of this pain and pressure, and you found it, man. So, I think it's going to start really, really going for it. I told you, I text with Vince McMahon all the time. I told him about it. He was telling me his shoulder was bugging him and all this sort of stuff. So, word gets around. It just takes a while for guys to get into it. But
I get it.
They are. So
I got to read a text to you from from Ray Lloyd from November 29th. He went, "Yo, Paige, I just wanted you to know that I said today to myself earlier that today was the day. I'm going to knock this thing out of the park." Capital letters, nope. I did the job for the Diamond Cutter workout again.
But and that's the thing. It's cool because you work through all the levels, and now I basically base my workouts around 4. I do stand-up, I do strength builder, I do Diamond Cutter, and once in a while, if I'm feeling real froggy, I'll do the double black diamond. And that's the level that I'm at now, and all of those workouts help me in different ways, depending on the time that I have, depending on the room that I have, available to do some of these things. That's why stand-up is great. I mean, we went on the Disney cruise earlier this year in August, and I was doing it every night. I went onto the balcony of the cruise ship and did my stand-up, which was amazing. Out in the middle of the open sea with the moonlight shining down, doing DDP yoga. So that was pretty cool. So. But yeah, man. So, I mean, it's all been working great, and I can't stress enough, and I'll continue to stress it until till the day I pass away, how much this is helping me and how much I enjoy it, and it's fun. It really is. Crank up some tunes and just turn your voice down a little bit so I can't hear you talk much, which is great. But the funniest part of all, though, and I know Filthy Ray will like this, is that when you first do it, you do the Diamond Cutter and you got to do the diamond sign and you go bang, and it's just like you feel like a frickin' mark just doing it from when you come from the wrestling world. It's like, oh geez, I got to be Paige now, bang.
Yeah.
Hey Chris, you might take a call or two from the fans before you go. I know you said 20 minutes. We kept you here for 40. Would you mind taking 1 or 2 calls from the fans?
I'll take a couple calls. Yeah, I got a couple minutes actually to go do YRG, so we'll take a few.
Yeah, he called me. I was texting back first. He goes, "Leave me alone. I'm trying to do my stand-up." So, Robert, what do you got on the shelf there?
The first one is a longtime friend of the show. We've got Officer X.
Officer X. Come on in, brother.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, man. How you doing?
DDP, I love your voicemail. That's the best one I've heard in a long time.
Chris, have you heard this voicemail that I have?
No, I haven't. I'll have to call you. Every time I call you, you answer. So.
Next time I see you calling, I won't answer. If I see the thing, it's pretty funny. I'll just leave it at that.
I almost got in a car accident laughing when I dialed it. It was too much. Hey, but at DDP Yoga changes lives. It is unbelievable. It's not. Chris, I met you a couple of times at shows over the year I was working at, and what really dragged me into the thing was I was just watching it. So I was like you. I mean, I'm a cop. I'm in rough city, and I was like, yoga, come on. And then I saw Paige doing it, and I fell in love with it. And RVD's a real good friend. I was after him for years to stretch with him, and it just never got together like the video type thing. And this thing just was unbelievable. And then that day we had a great workout in Macaulay, RVD, Paige. What a great day that was.
Oh man, RVD, bro, he rang that shirt out. It was like a friggin' ton of water.
He always did a lot of stretching too. He was stretched for 45 minutes before every match. I always think whenever I think of stretching beforehand.
I'm telling you, that day we had it, Chris. There were 12 guys in the thing, and I'm talking tough MMA guys, and every single one of them was just about crawling out of the room.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the real deal. Like I said, it's no joke, and it's the same thing when people say something about dancing. It's like if you think dancing is so stupid or dumb, just try it for a day, and you'll get new respect. It's the same with yoga. If you think it's for chicks, just try it once, and you'll change your mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it'll fixes things. You have muscles you never knew you had, and flexibility, and strength. And I'm like you. I love stand up because I can do that just about anywhere, and I find when my legs are hurting from squatting much or anything, nothing stretches you out like that workout.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, Officer X. So we got a question there from some new from the thing. Good talking to you, X. We'll talk later on. Robert, you got anybody else on that?
Absolutely. From the 928 area code with a wrestling question.
Hello.
You're on. Go ahead.
Yes, you're on the air, buddy.
Hey, what's up, DDP and Chris?
Good to see you.
What's your question?
Okay.
Hey, I'm calling from Arizona, Chris, man. Huge fan of yours.
Cool.
Saw you last Cyber Sunday when you're here in Arizona.
Right on, yeah, for sure. Cool.
Well, I got a question for you, probably one of the millions I asked you. What's your wrestling career looking like in the future?
Well, I have no plans to return, but if I did want to return, and if I was going to return, I think YRG has basically allowed that to happen if it does. Because if you would have asked me this 3 months ago, I would have said I'm done. I can't do this. I mean, there's no way. Like I said, I couldn't even bend over, never mind taking a bump or anything like that. So when the time comes, if I decide to go back and it looks, there's some good ideas, I definitely will be able to do that with the power of YRG. So, like I said, in just living a normal life or being able to go on stage with Fozzy or play with my kids, all of those things I attribute to YRG and to DDP. So,
wow, yeah, I know. Been following your Twitter just recently. Been watching it online, and I see times you post.
When he's doing
I won't be returning to wrestling or so, but it's cool. You always were a great performer and all.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah, like I said, it takes its wear and tear when you do it for as long as I did, 20 years. You can't expect to get out of that scot-free. YRG helped me to continue to live a regular life and a better quality of life than I ever had before. So, but thanks for calling, man. Very cool.
Cool.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Hearing from you.
Last one. I know Chris has got to go. I want to go. I know he's more than 20 minutes. I'm so appreciative of being on this show and talking about all this inspirational stuff together. One last call, Robert. One last call.
Hey, bro, it's Doug. I got to get out of here, but I wanted to ask Chris one thing.
Oh yeah, you go.
Yeah. Hey, Chris, if you could make one recommendation, especially to these young guys, because Dallas can tell you all about me. I'm 43, have had 16 surgeries, blah, blah, blah. But, I try to stress it's extremely important for the young kids to get involved into something, especially maybe the wrestlers, too, so they don't beat their body up and have to put through the punishment that, a lot of other people have,
Well, I think, and the biggest thing is this: is that it's always about weight training, and that's just the way it is. But I think now it's going to start with guys that are older. I mean, I just turned 41, but when you start getting older, you have to morph your body and transform with your body as far as what you're going to do physically. So to start going in there and bench pressing 400 pounds like I did when I was 21 years old, it's not going to help me anymore. It's too hard on my joints. It's too hard on my body. Now I'm transitioning over to just completely doing YRG, and that's now going to be the workout for me for the rest of my life, and I expect to be able to perform at a very high level into my 60s and 70s because of this, the same way I could perform on a high level in my 20s and 30s due to, heavy lifting. So I think that it's going to start trickling down to where yoga and YRG is going to be part of society in general, and then it'll start getting younger where kids will start picking up to it. But kids are always going to have a lot of piss and vinegar. They're always going to want to lift as much as they can. Fine. But when the time comes you start getting hurt, the wise old owls will be there to say, now you got to do this.
Yep.
Hey, I want to definitely say how appreciative I am for you coming on, Chris, and sharing this with everybody, because this was a very inspirational show. I mean, you are what you have manifested your entire life. You have done. You have lived the dream, and it all comes down to when someone sees someone else be able to do that, and you did that with a lot of hard work. Nobody gave that to you, man, and you got nothing but props from me, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming on here and help you and your family have the happiest of holidays, my brother.
Hey, same to you, man. Like I said, I appreciate that call you made to me, Paige, because you really did change my life, and I'll do anything I can for you for as long as I can. Like I said, you really helped out, so much respect, and thanks to everybody that was listening and called in, and thanks to Spewy, thanks to Filthy Ray, thanks to Fat Fingers the Magician, and thanks to all of you. Happy holidays.
Thank you, Chris. Good talking to you. Merry Christmas.
Oh, dude, all the way out. He is a master on the mic. And I would definitely, I'm sure at some point, don't know when it'll be. Sounds like he's a pretty busy cat, especially, with his whole Fozzy, his band and everything. And if you want to hear some of Chris's music, you can, of course, go to his site, check that out. I'm sure you can catch it on YouTube. But if you want to catch a video, and I believe we are launching it either tonight or tomorrow, and it'll be, I don't know what we're going to call it, but it'll be, if you go to ddptv.com, I will definitely be putting it there. If you're already on my YouTube, you don't always get to see the pictures that go with stuff. So I would advise you to go to ddptv.com and subscribe to that blog as well, because there's a ton of great, if you're listening to the first time and you're a wrestling fan, I've got a ton of really awesome behind-the-scenes stories. And what you're going to get with this video isn't just me and Chris working out, because that's a fragment of the 14 or 15 minutes. It's quite a long video, but absolutely worth the listen. Moser took the time to edit quickly, me making the gluten-free Namaste of all names is the name of the company, Namaste gluten-free waffles that were unbelievable, and the omega-3 eggs. And then Chris and I sit down and we just talk, we tell stories, but I wanted to hear from him, what was his favorite story, and he talked about the one and only late, great Eddie Guerrero. And we both had fun stories to talk about Eddie Guerrero and even the Giant Guerrero, and who would become a part of the story. And you'll have to watch the video to know what we're talking about there. I know Ray, Fat Fingers, Filthy Ray there. I did not know that was one of the nicknames, Ray. Ray, how have you been, dude? How have you been, buddy?
Good,
now, how's it? You going home for the holidays? You staying in Florida?
No, actually, I'm leaving next Wednesday, to go up to Atlanta, to see my mom and my brother and his family. So I'm going to be up there for about a week. So, yeah, you going to be in Atlanta during that time at all?
No, I just was with my daughters. I flew into Atlanta, and me and my daughter Kimmy, I went to see her recital she's a senior now, at her high school, and right from there, me and her mom, who's, the reason I have these two beautiful daughters, Kimmy's 17 and Brittany is 24, is because when Brittany was 6 and Kim was an infant, their sperm donor decided to take a hiatus and take all the money and left them all hanging. And Linda was one of my bartenders back in the day, and she was a smoking hot blonde. And we became very, very good friends and stayed friends forever. I mean, I was talking to a new friend of mine that I did a movie with, a movie short that was for only exteriors, and there was no dialogue. And it's something that's on a horror edge that she directed. And we were talking about best friends, and I said, I know this will sound a little crazy. I said, but I've got like 20 of them. And she went, what? Seriously. I said, would you like me to name them? And she goes, could you? I said, yes. And I said, I have people that I know would do anything for me. They become my best friends. I would do anything for them and have over and over again. From our little things that we used to do, Ray, when we'd be doing the charity thing down in Griffin, Georgia that you had set up, right?
Yeah.
All
that. It's been a great ride, and the great thing about it is, it's not anywhere near over, So that's,
hey.
And I was going to tell you, too, whenever I find a great quote, I always pass it along to you.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And I found one just the other day, believe it or not, in a notebook, because one of the lessons I learned from years ago was always carry a notebook. So I got notebooks everywhere now. There's stuff written in them, and I keep them around because, like they're saying, short pencil is better than a long memory. So I try to write them all down. And I saw one the other day, man. This is so perfect for you. Just what your mission is with the whole DDP yoga culture and everything now. And it said, here's a simple test to determine whether your mission on Earth is finished. If you're alive and breathing, it isn't. But I just thought that's perfect for Paige.
I absolutely love that, and I want you to email me that so I got put it on one of the quotes that we have up there on DDP Yoga, because every page you go to has another great quote, and they're candid, but I'm going to eventually put all my own in there, and a lot of them I got from you. And one of my favorite quotes that you gave me was, "Try to be half the man your dog thinks you are."
Yeah.
Just half the man, because that dog thinks you're the Bob no matter what. Beat him, kick him out, don't feed him, he still loves you. He'll walk up.
I'm so glad you remember that. I'd forgotten all about that one. Man, wow. I love that one.
I carried that one. I've carried that one with me everywhere, man. It's one of the ones that are burned in my brain. So, Robert, do we have anybody who wants to ask any questions on Think? I know we went long today. I know we're a little over the hour, but I'm willing to hang for a little bit.
We might have Eric.
Well, before we go to Eric, let me go to this call real quick, and we'll bring Eric on, because I know we have the Own Your Life segment. So let me switch over here real quick, Sparky. Nelson, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure now. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that you're the guy that contacted Dallas on his YouTube account.
Yes.
I know exactly who this is. Nelson had
I'm sorry about the cats.
Don't worry about it. It's the crying plea for help. And before I'll help anybody anymore, because there's so many people I'm constantly helping, and then people drop off, and if they drop off, I drop off. Because if you ain't going to put the work in, I ain't got the time. And that's just life. But if you're willing to put the work in, but if you listen to me, my friend, if you're willing to put the work in, Stacy, Arthur, Sparky, I mean, everybody will tell you, I'll be there and help you, but you got to put the work in. So what I told you to do, first off, Nelson, was go to the front page of www.teamddpyoga.com, and you did, but I told you to read the front page. And on the front page, it says, take these 6 pictures. And if you click it right there, it takes you to the 6 pictures. You put up 19 pictures, and 2 of them were front and sides with half your body.
I'm going to have to take 2 pictures to tomorrow and put them back up.
And you take a full body shot. They're based on Smokey, who was the first one to ever do the pictures. And I'm not sure if I used Arthur or not. I can't remember. But to show before and afters. But to be able to show, like, there's no one. Like, I try to get Stacy to take them. Stacy, don't you wish you took those pictures now? Did we lose Stacy?
You got to take them.
Yeah, Stacy, don't you wish you took those pictures now?
Yeah, I do. And you're not going to let me forget it.
No, I'm not, because you're one of the. You are one of, I look at it as one of the key people that came to this site looking for inspiration that you saw from Carney Wilson on Oprah, and she mentioned Dallas was my fitness guru, and you found that, and you had lost that 30 pounds, and I got to Terry Lang, who's the godmother of DDP Yoga, formerly YRG, and you came there looking for inspiration, and you have so inspired us all. You know, and anybody who comes in, they just don't look at that Arthur video. They look at that video of Stacey Morris, they go, wow. I love showing people your before and after picture, because they almost fall over. You know, like, oh, my God. I go, this face to that face, and they go, oh, my God. I go, by the way, that woman is 47. How good does she look? You know, because hopefully anyone who's listening will think, yes, I really do want it. Because Terry wrote a whole a page on it why she wished she took the pictures.
Yeah.
You know, but that's okay.
Picture, you're right. Before pictures are very important. So everyone take them, no matter how difficult it is. It's worth it.
I felt kind of embarrassed of putting it up.
Don't feel embarrassed, bro.
Dude,
you know, I've been made fun of all my life. You know,
this isn't a place that's going to make fun of you, bro. This place is going to get you to where you want to be.
If you're willing to put the work in, bro, And I'll tell you right now.
I'm so willing to put the work in. You don't know, I'm at the end of my rope. I don't know what else to do. When I saw YRG, and I was like, maybe that's for me. And when I started seeing those videos, that woke me up. So I took the first step of so many steps to take, and I went to Team DDP. So that's my first rope. And for me to go back down and say this, I'm going to give up on this, there's no reason for that. I want to change my life. I'm 41 years old, and I'm not going to sidetrack.
I love that. I love the attitude, but let me tell you what goes with, if you were like 30 or 40 pounds overweight or something like that, I would say you could do it easily, doing this and cutting back and this and working out with that, but you're not. You're 100 pounds plus overweight.
Yeah.
So I don't even have to know you or look you in the eye. I just see a picture of you, and I tell you, you have a wheat, gluten, and dairy intolerance. Like your body doesn't know how to process it. There are people who are listening to this show that can eat plastic and not, and be fine, but you're not one of them. So to do this, and this is what I want you to set the goal. You got to be willing to send every day, write down what you eat and what time you eat. Anyone who's listening, if you're trying to go on a diet, don't bother me because I don't go with diets. What's the first three letters of the word diet, Stace?
Die.
Right. They die. They don't work. Lifestyles work. And having a gluten-free and dairy-free lifestyle, as far as eating is concerned, your body, especially when you have that much weight, you can survive so much longer. That's why when you start to starve yourself, your body says, store the fat, burn the muscle. So you want to be able to eat, but for some, it's something in your position, bro. We'll talk about it on the site, but I need to see those pictures up first, and I need you to start writing down what you're eating and what time you are, and just right now, I'll tell you right now, start drinking a 12 to 16-ounce glass of water before you put a morsel of food in your mouth. You won't drink while you're eating. You'll drink before. It'll start to fill your belly because they say 6 times out of 10 that your body, when you think you're hungry, you're really thirsty. So if you quench your thirst, there's a good chance you may not want to eat or eat as much. So, Nelson, I think it's good that you called it a show. You have followed the direction. Now take those pictures the right way, and you don't have to put these up. And I couldn't believe Stacy did this, actually. When I got Stacy to take the pictures, I remember her saying, because she took the front, side, and back pictures, she said she cried for 3 days. And I only saw a picture with this gray T-shirt, which was really baggy, and these black workout pants. And I thought, wow, at least she took the pictures. That's cool. Never knowing she took them in the sports bra. So I was thinking, when I saw her with the sports bra, I said, okay, that woman, she really wants this. See, so what I'm saying to you, she didn't put those pictures up until she got to her first big goal. So what you need to do, besides taking the front and side back pictures and bent over and try to lift your foot as high as you can, you need to take your shirt off and take a picture front and side and back with that. So you have it. It's in the can. Now you move forward. Are we on the same page, Nelson?
So you want me to take a picture of my shirt off?
Yeah, yes, sir. Not for me personally.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this. If I really want to change my life, and I know that I'm very determined, I will take those pictures. If that's going to change my life, and that's what I have to take, I'm going to take those pictures.
All right, bro, baby steps.
Bro, this is Sparky. What I want to do, we have Eric Phillips, who's on the site, and he's going to be one of the first people stopping in to check with us on an Own Your Own Life segment to tell everybody how he's been doing. I want to invite you to come to that. It's going to be about halfway through the show every week, about 9:30. If you need that help and you want to come on and you need that motivation, that push, we want to know where you're at. DDP Yoga, Team DDP Yoga wants to know where you're at. Give the show a call every week, and we'll follow you, bro. We'll help you out.
I appreciate it, and I really appreciate what DDP is doing, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart and I really want to get my life back. And YRG is the way to go.
You're in the right place, Nelson.
All right, Nelson.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
man.
you calling in. Go take the pictures, put them
I
up.
sent
right
you my
down the
number.
goal. Well, you know what it is? One of the reasons why I do, you just had your call, my brother, and you'll get your next call personally from me when you've achieved the goal, because like Stacy had lost that 30 pounds, and that's when I picked up the phone and I called her. But I really created this site over a year and, I don't know, a year and a half ago, I guess, because...
Really?
Yeah. But I created it so people like you could come on and talk to me when I was on here, or Sparky. The reason I have Sparky and Stacy in this spot, because they've already overcome it. They know what you're going through. They lived it. But I just wanted someone else to hear what other people were going through. So now by just talking to you right there, I've talked to, I don't know, how many people will listen to this podcast over a period of time? Thousands will listen to it, especially with Chris Jericho on the front end. Thousands will listen to this podcast. And out of that, maybe a couple of people will actually get something from your story, and then they'll check back in. Because when I talked to Arthur Borman, the disabled veteran, he was the first person I ever called out of nowhere. After we talked, and you can go and look up YRG, or he didn't go by the name of Arthur Borman. He went by the name of like Sanji or something.
Yeah, his video was the one that woke me up when I saw him running. That's what I want to do. I want to run.
Well, you don't have canes right now. You could run a marathon next to where he was at. And those knee braces strap in the back braces. But if you go back to February 5th, 2007, Arthur went on YouTube and put up a video, and he starts out saying, you know, I know I've been talking about, you know, I want to put it out there that, we say when you go on a diet or you're going to do an exercise program, you should tell people about it because you're more likely to stick to it.
I saved all those videos to remind me.
You're in the right place. Now, again, write down everything you eat before you eat it. It makes you more accountable. Keep a journal. Check in with people on Team DDP Yoga. And another thing here. Go ahead, Rob.
Sorry to interrupt you, bro, but I got to do it for this one. We got another caller on the line.
Sure. Yo.
Hi. Hey, who we got?
Hi.
I heard that. I heard Nelson, and I had to call in and say hi. I know Eric's going to be on tonight, so I told Eric that
Arthur!
Yeah.
Arthur, introduce yourself, monkey. Come on.
Hi. This is Arthur. My son has been doing something technical to my computer, and my connection keeps dropping in and out. But you know, kids they keep fooling around with stuff. But I told Eric that when he called up, I would call in and talk to him. And I guess it was good because I was listening to Nelson, and it's really funny. Everybody's talking about all the wrestling stuff, and I'm going, what? But is Nelson still there? Did I miss him?
He might have dropped.
He dropped off. Oh, he missed a great
opportunity. If you're hearing me, you can do this. You just got to keep working it, and it'll happen.
Well, if we got Eric, why don't we pop Eric in since we got our own line, and we can see where Eric's been.
Absolutely. You there, Eric?
Yeah, I'm here.
And before you get started, Sparky, I got to thank Eric because with all the craziness we've had tonight, Eric has been on hold waiting patiently for about 45 minutes.
Oh, it was a pleasure listening to Chris and DDP and Glacier and Arthur and even Nelson. I told him to give you guys a call earlier today. I've been on chat room with him all day long, and I've been hearing this story. I was like, yo, you got a call tonight. You speak to Sparky, speak to Stacy, speak to everybody because we're not only a community here, we're a family.
Yeah.
You're
not alone.
Right, bro.
None of us are alone in this.
Yeah, not at all. So, but I think that this Own Your Life segment should be all about Nelson because, I heard his story and I want to see him succeed. And as anyone knows, I'm everybody's biggest cheerleader.
You know, I'm with you, but and we're definitely going to have Nelson in here if he goes down the road and does what he needs to do. But I personally want to hear about you, bro.
Yeah, bro, you've been you kind of kicked it for a while, and then you kind of left, and you came back, and we started hooking up, and you were talking about how much you're into it and everything else you got going on, and I said, man, you have a lot of stuff going on that's sort of like where I was at. So you're going through grad school, you got kids, right, and the whole family thing, and you decided it's time to settle up, time to buck up and put the work in, right?
Well, I see it this way, is I need to worry about my health because I have a wife and a son to support. My grandfather, he died from being overweight, and it means a lot to me, especially when I look into my son's eyes. I want to be there for him. I remember in our recent email you asked how did I find out about DDP Yoga, and actually I found out because I'm a huge wrestling mark, but I found out on the O Show. And
cool.
I'm sorry?
Go ahead.
And actually last week I was listening to it, and they mentioned Robert on the show, how he's helped Perry Saturn out with his website.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, bro, because, everybody's going through a lot of changes. Perry's been a lot of different places, and actually I think it's okay for me to drop this, but he is actually going to be on the show next week, too.
Really? That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah,
I'm so pissed at myself for not bringing that up earlier. I forgot all about that. Damn it. On that earlier.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's all about making the decision, though, in your life, and everybody has to be there and be at the point. Nelson, you have to be at the point where you want to do it, and you might need a little help on the way. That's why we're here. And Eric, so what's your update? So what have you been doing in the past week to get to where you're at today?
Well, you mentioned grad school. I finished up grad school on Monday. I'm done with that now, so the wife gets to see me a whole lot more now. And I went from, when I started, I was 212, and now I'm at 200, and I've been doing a DDP Yoga for the past 4 weeks.
Awesome, man. Very good. Awesome.
Yeah, and I also ordered the new DDP combo package, and I'm giving my old one to my parents.
I love
That's
that.
Great. That's great, bro. You got a question for DDP while he's here, or Art while he's on the line?
Well, did you have a question for DDP? Well, he's the man. I feel like I should worship him. It's crazy. I followed him from the AWA days. I'm sorry?
So take a breath, man. I'm just freaking regular cat.
I know, but you've inspired us all, and you've changed all of our lives, and that's why I'm saying you're the man. Not only just because of your wrestling, but of your motivational speaking, of how you're helping everybody.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that.
And actually, when I came back, I saw Arthur. He had emailed me when I first began. And he said if I have any questions, to email him back. And so when I was coming back to DDP Yoga, he was the first person I reached out to. Actually, Sparky followed me on Twitter, which got it started. And then I reached out to Arthur, and he just helped me. He said one day at a time, one step at a time, and you'll get back to it. And basically everybody here, I see on the chat room, there's legends here. Katie Stifler, Steve Anderson, everybody, and I'm just blown away.
That's cool. And bro, you're in that. And man, think about what you're going to do in the next week, because we'll be waiting for the next update. You've been doing awesome. It's people like you, Motown. We got Black Belt Brian, who's been in posting stuff. Steve Anderson. It's what it's all about. We need you guys in there, and we need you guys posting your progress and telling everybody where it's at, because your success is everybody else's success, bro, man. We're really proud of you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Hey, Sparky, I think it's an awesome idea that you guys came up with, the Own Your Life segment. That's excellent, man. That's we get people coming in there and being accountable, and that's really what we need more than anything. Is like I have these different friends of mine who come over and work out with me every morning. And they're always bummed when I leave, and when I come back, I look forward to working out with them because everybody's different, and I do a different workout every single time I do it. It's so funny. Me and Chris Jericho, we're going to work out, so we're grabbing our mats and we're walking out to the park for Moser to film us, and he goes, so what do? You got a couple of set workouts that you do? Do you mix them up once in a while? I go, Chris, I've never done the same workout twice. I said the only times I've done, like stand up, I knew I wanted to do these moves standing up, and I just went with it. And it's the only time I rehearsed it. I said, it's funny, it's sort of like a match, because a lot of guys can go out there and never say a word to each other, but they've worked together enough times that they can go out there and talk to each other through a whole match. Where for me, I wanted to know exactly everything I was doing and then improv with that. And for when I'm doing DDP Yoga, I don't ever know until I see who's working out with me. And if I see that person, like my niece, like my daughter Kimmy, oh my God, and I have footage of it, I can't find it because I lost my little white, I guess it's called a zip drive or whatever it's called, where you take the little videos off. I dropped it somewhere, but I have footage of her. She wanted to work out with me when we were down there, and it was the first time. Brittany always worked out with me, and Brittany, go to my Facebook if you can. I'll put it up on Team DDP Yoga. She got Brittany, I know Mr. ADD, I'm all over the place. Brittany got a 14-foot Christmas tree. She got the biggest tree in Birmingham. So,
bro, you had that on Twitter, right?
Yeah, I had it on Twitter. I'm going to put it up on DDP Yoga. I got to put it over there. And when she pulls up with her boyfriend's truck, he's got the big, it's not a monster truck, but it's as big as one of those real working man trucks, Scott. And he's in Oakland, and it's me, her, and Kimmy are at the house. And she pulls up with his Christmas tree. I'm like, how the hell are we going to get that thing off the truck? So I didn't say that to her, but I'm thinking that, And she goes, come on, D, let's get it going. And I go, she goes, when I was walking out with to pay for the tree, they said there was 4 guys who carried that Christmas tree onto the truck, and they said, you better make sure you got a couple guys there. She goes, I got my dad there. He'll be fine. She goes, you're going to need more than just your dad. He goes, he's a professional wrestler. And they go, oh, really? Who's that? She goes, Diamond Dallas Page. He goes, oh, maybe he could do it. And forget me. I could handle my end. She's 5'8" and 140 pounds maybe. She picked up that other end of that tree, and we walked it all the way into the middle. I wish I would have video cameraed that. So now we got to stand this sucker up. So we put this humongous, and I have no idea. I've never put a tree up like this before, but you run wires up onto the tree and then down to the post. And now we're going to just literally figuring this out as I go along. But she's like, come on, D, let's get it up. And we pushed that damn tree. I was so afraid it was going to go through the big window that they have behind it. But, man, I'll be damned. We got that tree up there. I didn't tell you about the ridiculously heavy couch and ridiculously heavy table that she takes the other side of, and we go out the door and around, put it on the truck, and take it down and walk it all down to downstairs. I was like, man, you're a warrior. I mean, she's just like so strong. But her sister, who's the musician, but she's been doing equestrian riding her whole life. She's never really done the workout with me. She's done it in a group, and I always seen her back, not really doing it. So I didn't really want to bother with it. But then we did that workout, and she nailed her first 3-second push-up, and I was like, oh, my God. She's really strong, too. And she was, no, I'm not really. I go, yes, you are. So I didn't think we were going to have that hard a workout, but it ended up being a really great workout. So if I ever find that video footage, I will definitely put that up on the site because she did amazing. And all you guys are really doing amazing. And I know you probably finish this off, Sparky and Stacey. So I'm going to split, but I want to thank you guys for doing such an amazing job and keeping this show going and making such a huge difference. You know, you can feel it, you know, and having Chris on here, you know, to talk, and, you know, I would never think in a million years, because that's one of the things in our business, a lot of guys won't do some other guy's thing, you know what I mean? And for him to come over and been so gracious, and to come over here and just, I mean, I was humbled, you know, that I could help out a buddy, but, you know, he ain't the only one. You know, HBK and, you know, and you know, like I say, Stacey, he's not hurt right now, but he wants to do it, and whether it's RBD or if I can help Gordon Smiley, if I can help Smiley out, man, what a great guy he is. You know, there's just so many of the boys. I would love this to become the staple of their workouts so that they can feel the way I feel. And if anybody, if you've gone to ddpyoga.com, if you want to see what level I'm at right now, go to the workouts. It's the workouts. That's all it says. You know, on the tab on the top, Robert put it together, and then go past level 1, past level 2, and go to extreme. And then go past the written copy that says, if you can't do the diamond cutter or double black diamond, don't even think about getting this. Like, don't buy this. Wow. Like, tell you right away, don't buy it. And if you watch the highlight reel, you'll know when you see me doing psycho push-ups where I lower for 10 and kick my feet up in the air and then do micro mini push-ups with my feet in the air. I mean, crazy stuff. That every day I wouldn't say every day, but every month I get stronger or deeper somewhere. I'm 55 years young. So what could you do? That's what this is all about. You know, Stacey Morris can go from this to that. What could you do? That Arthur can go from walking on canes to be able to stick his foot over his head. What could you do? You know, Sparky can go from having that mask over his face to being like friggin' a dominator. What could you do? You know, everybody. You know? Robert could put up with me. That Robert could put up with me building this site. What could you do?
Now, before you go, Dallas, do you have time for one more question?
Absolutely.
Okay, we've got Tim who just ordered the DVDs, the 10-pack DVDs. He's got a question for you.
Absolutely.
You there, Tim?
Hey, DDP, how's it going?
Great, Tim. Where you calling from?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha. All right, man. As a matter of fact, the quarterback of the Nebraska team, he's from right down there in Laguna. His brother plays for Laguna Beach High School. I was just down there to see him in the semi-state finals, and he's a hell of a running back. So I had to put that Nebraska play. He ran for 1,700 yards this year. Wow.
Oh man, we can use him out here in Nebraska when he's ready. Hopefully Taylor can get him out here.
Well, it's his brother, so he's a junior this year. He's got one more year, so I'm really looking forward to see what he can do next year. So, what's your question, my friend?
Well, I just had a quick question for you. I bought the old YRG DVDs a while ago. Really enjoy them, and I just went ahead and bought the new 10-pack. And I was just kind of looking through, watching some of the previews, seeing what they are, and they should be getting here, hopefully within the next week or so. And I was curious what kind of recommendation you would give as far as like a regimen to set up so that I can progress through these here.
Well, I wouldn't put you at a beginner level if you've already done it, if you've already done the workout, period. But have you done any of the what I call the old school original YRG workouts lately? Have you been doing anything, or are you just taking a sabbatical?
Well, what I've been doing is, I still go to the gym and do some lifting, and I'll do the 20-minute YRG when I get back, the old warm up. And then on days when I don't lift, I'll do the 40-minute, and then once in a while, I'll do the 60. I'll still, get to it probably about. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying I'd still probably get to it about.
Go ahead. We lost you there. listener, if you could even do the 60-minute, which is that's a monster warrior workout. Like I'm gonna rebring that out again. That and that 20-minute, all those workouts are amazing. Just done with a different technique. You'll see. I would go right to intermediate to advanced. I have it all mapped out. In your case, I wouldn't go for the 3 workouts. I'd go for 4, and you'll see how there's so many more new moves, that I came up with. And what's really funny is since that DVD, there's so many more new moves and new ways to do things. But where I think you'll really get a kick out of is the Diamond Dozen, which is sort of like it's exactly like me being your trainer. And I show you how to do one of the moves that maybe you've already been doing, but now we fine-tune it. And then you take it to the next level. And after you've gotten those down, within a day, you'll know them because you've already done many of these moves. But this is my fine-tune, this one here and that one there. And when you get to, like, fat burner that you've got on there, it's good if you're at a quick, it's not as hard as the original 20-minute workout. That's still that's a kick-ass 27-minute workout. But when you get the strength builder, when you get the diamond cutter, what I like with these DVDs is you mix and match them. Like you could do fat burner and end like when we finally go to the ground, and I know you know what easy twist is, and figure 4 leg lock and that stuff. Before you get to that, because you'll know when we go to the ground, you pop that one out and maybe you put in the red hot core. Now that's MF on all levels. And there's someone modifying the beautiful Diane. She's there, and it killed her because this chick is such a warrior when it comes to any kind of DDP yoga workout. Because she can do them all. And she got the part of the modifier. And it was like killing her that she had to modify the positions, and she really didn't know how to because she only knew how to do them at full bore. So the director came up to her. He goes, if you can't make this look hard, we'll find someone else. And man, she even modified. You can make it look, not make it look. You can make it hard. You can make it as hard or as easy. There's always someone else to go. You could if you could do the diamond cutter, which I know you can if you can do that 60-minute, and then you throw the red hot core on the end of that, well, then you might have a redefinition of what a really badass workout is. But then you get into strength builder, like Chris Jericho was talking about today. Stand-up is you're on your feet the whole time. You never go to the ground. That's one of his favorite workouts. And I was blown away to hear that because I do a lot of stand-up throughout my workout. Like, I mix them all. It's like every time I do it, it's like, what do I want to do? And I swear to God, once a month, I find something new. I go, whoa, wait a minute, check this out. And I might be in this front lunge with my knee past my ankle, and I just look back over my right shoulder, and I go, wow, feel that. I'm like always finding new places to go, man. So this is really going to this is going to open you up and really take you to a different level, which you ought to plan on doing, if you could swing it, is I'm going to be having the next DDP Yoga Retreat Extravaganza. And we're not going to Mexico because I know people are afraid to go to Mexico. But I've already got a confirmation from a bunch of people. We're going to the Hard Rock Cafe in Punta Cana, and it is amazing. Right after, I'll probably put up all the information of it right after the first year, and we're going to go like towards the third week of July, and dude, that is a great time. And I know Sparky had something happen to the family. He was on his way in the last second, couldn't go. Yeah. But I know Spark will be the first one signed up.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't wait to get the DVDs, and I'm going to register on the team DDP Yoga and get more connected and more involved with everybody that's doing this.
That's awesome, man. What is your initial goal right now? Like, what's the short-term goal?
Well, I mean, I got involved in it because, probably about a year or so ago, I just had a lot of back pain, and I mean, I'm only 29 years old right now, and I tried chiropractic and, a couple of different things. Nothing really did it except just stretch, and I never, ever stretched, ever. And my goal is just to feel younger and feel better, and it works.
You got the right workout, brother. Because as far as I'm concerned, this is the fountain of youth. And anybody who's listening, I said it before, go to DDPYoga.com, and when you go there, go to the workouts. Well, first watch that front page, because Chris is on there and he talks about the video of Arthur, which is on there. And if you haven't seen the video of Arthur, his transformation, there's nothing. It's one of the greatest. It is the greatest transformation in fitness history, for my money. And we did a great inspirational opening on that. But then go to the workouts, and you can actually see there's a mini trailer on every workout, so you can see that this ain't your mama's yoga. The only reason I called it yoga, period, is because I had yoga moves in it, and originally it was yoga for regular guys, and then became YRG. But I couldn't get, it's so funny, I couldn't get anybody to call it YRG until Chris Jericho started doing it, and I changed the name to DDP Yoga as the umbrella, and that's all he'll call it, is YRG. So Curry said the same thing. I love that YRG. I said, dude, that's great. Because this workout's extreme. This one's YRG. They're all under the umbrella of DDP Yoga, and how the whole animation came together that Steve Yu did. He did an amazing job. So I think we got something very cool here. And for anybody who's listening, if you go there, if you get the pack, the 10-pack, and you can get it on your own. If you want to send it to someone who's in the military, you pay for the shipping, we'll get it there. So. Hey, Tim, great to hear from you, man, and get involved. As you can tell, everybody's on the show. They're always on the site, and I come by personally. It's the only cut and paste email you'll ever get from me, but I cut and I paste it, and I expect you to follow up on it, and if you do, then you ask me questions, I answer them. Simple as that.
All right, hey, all the best wishes, and have a good holiday.
You too, brother. Okay, Sparky and Stacey, I want to thank you guys again. And Robert, I owe you, so call me when you're all done with this. I know you want to cancel it out and do your own thing. Remember, if you go there now, you go to DDPYoga.com. If you decide you want to get the 10-pack, you don't have to. There's plenty of other deals on there. But you can also send it to one of the troops over in Afghanistan or Iraq. You pay the shipping, we'll get it there. All right, guys, it's been your pleasure. See ya.
See ya.
See you later, bro.
See you guys. Too awesome. Okay.
Wow.
That, for a short call, talking to DDP before the show. I mean, they were going to be on for like the first half of the show, and then Ray was going to come in for the back end. Wow, that is an hour and 40 minutes.
That was some energy.
Pure energy and pure excitement. And I don't want to take anything away from that. That's pretty much it for it. They said everything. Everybody who's listening. We blew the chat room out tonight. There's 100 people in there. We got 40 people. I want to thank everybody who's listening. And for everybody who's listening now, you heard Jericho tonight talk about it. Talk a little wrestling. Talk DDP, talk a little bit wrestling, but talk about how this program's helping them. You're going to hear it from Perry Saturn next week, and boy, does that guy got a story to tell. So you're going to want to mix and make sure that's in your schedule. It's going to be another awesome show right before the holiday and right before Christmas. So other than that, I wanted to throw in really quick our welcomes. We got some people. We're throwing you in at the back end. We're not forgetting you. Lee, Nelson, who was on tonight, thanks, bro. Sandy and Niall, welcome to the team. A few things going on in there. I'm going to give myself a attaboy because I finally finished my story video.
All right.
And posted it. That took me. That's since January. I think Robert, did I tell you I was starting that in January? I think I might have given you the first clip of it.
Yeah, at least it was at least that long.
I've been tweaking it back and forth, but I tell everybody I consider myself the regular guy because I've got myself. I'm expecting the third kid, and so that 3 boys, the jobby job, everything else that's going on. So life is busy.
I was going to ask you if the stork has arrived yet, but I guess not.
No, and we're hoping
soon. God bless Jenny, because wow, she's really got a mama's boy right now. He's in a good space, and he's loving it. So, you know, we'll have some exciting news. I guarantee you by next week's show, you know, I'll have the third boy here. But that is it. Check you out, some DDP Yoga at Real DDP on Twitter, DDP Yoga at Twitter. Follow on Facebook, ddpyoga.com. Robert and Stacy, you got anything?
I am done.
No, I think I'm wiped out. This show was so freaking intense.
Yeah. Anybody who's listening who can run out and hit yourself some DDP Yoga after this, you should have plenty of energy to get 20 minutes in right now. So,
yeah, for it. Thanks, everyone, for listening and for chatting.
Absolutely.
Thank our guests. Thank Nelson. Thank Eric for calling in. Ray Lloyd, Chris Jericho, DDP, the man himself. Until next time, if the 10% comes a knocking, kick it in the ass and live life at 90%.
begin. Now let the madness 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 begin.